everybody, Joe here from wellnesspunks.com. How's everybody doing? I've got a question that came in through email, and it's actually a question that I get. I probably get this about once a week, and so I'm going to sort of paraphrase what the question is, because I think it's going to answer a lot of people's questions and hopefully help a lot of people. It's about quote unquote adrenal fatigue, and this particular person and many others. It's very similar to some of the other questions that I get. Suffering from fatigue, a little bit lightheaded, low blood pressure, seems to get sick, more often than she thinks that she should. Some other general symptoms of adrenal fatigue could be some digestive issues, low libido, maybe hair loss, things like that, hormonal issues, skin issues, acne. So these are like I said, about once a week I get questions like this. But they're all very similar, similar symptoms. And the question is, do I have adrenal fatigue? Because invariably these people go online, they go on the internet, they go on Facebook, and someone diagnoses them with adrenal fatigue. So here's my response to that. First of all, no one on the internet can diagnose you with adrenal fatigue. Even in my practice where I test for it, I still am a little apprehensive to use the term adrenal fatigue, and I'll explain why a little bit later. But the only way to really test your adrenals accurately is to run a lab that tests your cortisol rhythm throughout the day, and it also tests some other hormones. So this particular person, and again, this is really common, they'll go to their doctor with their self-diagnosis and say, can you test my adrenals? And in this particular case, and in many other cases, the doctor will say, no, your cortisol levels are normal. So that may or may not be accurate. So let me start with that. So again, the most accurate way is to test your cortisol rhythm throughout the day. So it would be before you would collect saliva samples 4 times throughout the day, 1 in the morning, 1 at noon, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 at night. And so that's the most accurate way to really test how your adrenals are functioning, because there's a rhythm. There's supposed to be a rhythm to how your cortisol acts throughout the day. So this is an example of what a cortisol rhythm should look like. It's about 19 to 21. This is nanomoles per liter. 19 to 21 or so first thing in the morning, and then it drops pretty dramatically to between 6 and 7 by noon, and then in the afternoon it's going to drop a little bit more to between 5 and 6, and it's going to drop off pretty significantly at night to around 2 or so, 1.5, 2.5, and that's about the same time as your melatonin level should come up. The problem with going to the doctor and getting your single cortisol level check. In other words, they're going to draw your blood at 11 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is, and it's going to be a snapshot of what's happening. It's not going to tell you the whole story of what's happening throughout your whole day, so it's not a very accurate representation. So if you were to add all of these numbers up, somewhere between 31 and 35 is sort of the reference range. So this person goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, your cortisol levels are 32, so you're normal, your adrenals are fine. And that may or may not be true, but what could be happening with so many people, maybe they're waking up when their cortisol level should be somewhere around 20 and it's 8. And so they're having a lot of trouble getting up in the morning, which is, again, super typical, right? And then by noon, maybe it's shooting up to 12 or 13 or something, right, when it should be dropping down. And then by afternoon, that cortisol level could be dropping dramatically to, it's supposed to be between 5 and 6, and maybe it's dropping down to like 3. And then at night, maybe this cortisol level is coming way back up, and it's where it's supposed to be around 2, it's maybe 5 or 6. So if you ever heard people, and maybe this resonates with you, maybe this is true for some of you, I work better at night. I'm a night person. I work really much better at night, but I have trouble waking up. And I crash in the afternoon, but I have much more energy at night. So this could be what's going on. So if you add all these numbers up, you might come up with something like, I think that's 30 without really looking. So your total cortisol throughout the day is 30. So your doc looks at that and says, it's, basically reference range. There's nothing to worry about. It's your adrenal glands are fine because your cortisol totals 30. So, and that may be true, but if we really look a little bit deeper and do the proper testing, we can see that there's something really, really wrong with your cortisol levels here. And even though, that total may look normal, we see that this rhythm is really wacky. You're shooting, your cortisol levels are shooting up at night. Chances are your melatonin is too low, and so that's why you have more energy at night. You have trouble sleeping, and you have trouble waking up in the morning. So, and then you have this crash in the afternoon. So this is a really typical, type of rhythm that we see a lot of. So, so the bottom line is you really can't trust a single sort of snapshot blood test for your cortisol, and don't trust the internet to diagnose you with adrenal fatigue. Now, I had mentioned that even in my practice, I don't like to use the term adrenal fatigue too much because it's sort of, people get this thought in their head, well, okay, I have adrenal fatigue, so that problem solved, right? Just give me some supplements, give me some hormones or whatever, and I'll start feeling better and, problem solved. But that's not the case, because there's always a reason why your adrenal glands are not functioning properly. And you always have to dig deeper and keep looking, whether it's intolerance to a food, some sort of stress that either you know about or you don't know about, whether it's mental, emotional stress, or some sort of internal stress, like an infection, parasite, bacterial infection, fungal infection, intestinal permeability, like I said, a food allergy or food sensitivity. The list goes on and on and on. But there's always something. Thyroid, if hypothyroidism is a huge factor in your functioning, in the function of your adrenal glands. And so, there's seemingly endless reasons why your adrenal glands might not be functioning properly. And just that, that quote unquote diagnosis of adrenal fatigue is really just the beginning. It's really not an end game there. That's really just the beginning. And now it's really time to dig deeper and figure out why exactly they're not functioning properly. So I hope that answers some questions. I hope that all made sense. If that does spawn some other questions, leave a comment below, or just shoot me an email or find me on Facebook, facebook.com/wellnesspunks, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.